Hello, my good students. Welcome back to our War on the Sea Let's Play series as Imperial Japanese Navy finally starting to actually create the Greater East Asian Empire there, or the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Spheres, I believe the more accurate term would have been from the Japanese perspective anyway. We've finally landed on Davao in the Philippines, and we're going to finally try an island hop between that island and go northwards all the way to Manila there. The question we have is how many of these bases do we actually want to bombard? It would certainly be more worthwhile to keep higher level airfields for ourselves so we can use them in the future, or even just for the base income that they give for command points. But at the same time, having those high level airfields and such will give the enemy a greater defensive power, which will mean that we'll have even more diminishing returns when we do start island hopping and diluting our own troops out for reinforcements and such there. So that's what we're going to think about today. Might bombard Davao the once and see how much difference that makes. Reduce the airfield down to at least a level 2 there. We do have our Issei and Fuso very close to do so. And thinking out loud there, I think that's probably what we're going to do. So let's go to the strategic map and see what else we can get up to, I think. Alrighty, so just as a refresher, we are just here on Davao. We have just landed, and we are of course going to go back to Peleliu. I think we're going to pick up some supplies there because we are slightly undersupplied at Davao though. We want at least a 1-to-1 ratio, so we're clearly very much off the mark there. But even with that, we can see that the balance of power is around 50-50 there, so that should be fine really. But it's going to be a long battle there, and of course we don't want a long battle with island hopping. We want it to be swift so that we don't lose troops so much. It's got 1, 2, 3 more to get at least before you even think about going to Puerto Princesa over here. Or Tawi Tawi. Manila's going to be particularly hard. That will need to be bombarded. As much as I'd love to have a level 3 ports and a level 5 airfield out here, we'll have to see. But we'll have to see exactly what happens with that later on, see what position we're in. We are going to, as I said, go in with Task Force 57, and we're going to go and bombard that. That's going to take 14 hours to get in there, so that's as ideal as it's going to get really, I think, isn't it? To get in there around air cover. I don't think we're going to get in without being hit by any air units whatsoever there. We do of course have Akagi and the Taiyo over here to help out with that. We'll be having air engagements on the retreat here. What is the rest of our supply units up to? We've got our minor supply task force over here with 2,000 supplies and 97 fuel. It's a rather odd number indeed, but that's because we have run Kure down to 0 fuel there. We should be getting resupplied, I believe, tomorrow on day 84 there, so that's absolutely fine. They're going to go down to Saipan, and we're finally going to source out the fuel situation here, I think, where we are going to be able to actually replenish our aircraft there, because as again we have 0 possible aircraft there because we've had 0 engineering and fuel there. We might even look at upgrading that in the future, but I think the next fuel stoppage will be at trucks so that we can use that to rearm our ships in the future, because that is rather low at the moment. So, what else are we doing up here? We do have our invasion supplies, our base invasion supplies here, with nothing on them, so we should think about taking that. We don't need to waste, I don't think, to get resupplied. I think we can take everything we can off of there. So that'd be okay, because the Kurohimes don't carry a huge amount of troops, 532 being the capacity there, so that will run us down to roughly 1,000. That's great stuff. We are of course going to come with as many supplies as possible over here, because that's never really a huge worry, is it? And I think we are going to come with some troops as well with these destroyer escorts, and that will come all the way down, and I think we'll just drop those off. Perhaps we'll go towards Peleliu. We'll see about that in the future. We might not necessarily need them as reinforcements on Davao. We can certainly use them on Del Monte over here, I think. And that I think we really will be bombarding as well once again. Might even want to bombard Tawi Tawi or Manado over here, because we'll get the enemy will get reinforcements from these. So we'll see about that. Otherwise, we did destroy a King George V previously, didn't we? Around this sort of area. So we'll be seeing, I think they were last spotted coming towards Guam still, the escorting ships there. So we may have to remove that particular task force with Kaga and Shokaku. Shokaku has lost 10 vowels, and the Kaga has lost even more, so around 15 or so. That's not too bad really. We do have the Kates available, and we will have planes from Guam to help as well. So let's get going, see what we can do, I think. Okay, so we've just been alerted that we're being intercepted by something over on this particular retreating task force. We've asked for smoke, we've taken off fire at will from our planes. Let's move our planes about, because they're the things that are going to be spotting for us. Unfortunately, that does mean spreading them out a bit too much for my liking. But unfortunately, they're going to be the eyes for us. Let's speed up and see what we find on the map here. There we go. What have we got? Some B-17s. That is nasty indeed. Let's move these zeros out already. Let's get these going. And before we forget, we're going to break off with a few ships and increase their speed and such, just so that we're turning a little better there. I'll just do those two at the moment. I'm not entirely sure where these planes want to go. Let's get onto a couple B-17s here. I'm really hoping we're going to be able to fire on the approach. It's something we don't always manage to do with our zeros here when we are protecting a task force. And that is rather frustrating. We've spotted something else there. Just find that. Some more bombers, do you reckon? Yeah, more bombers. Here we go. We have some Havocs. Okay, interesting. That's so far it. Is it? It is indeed. So we want number 13 over here. Try and go for them. There's no need to send more than one group of zeros to this particular unit, I don't think. I want to reduce our speed to get a better turn. We're not going to be able to fire on the approach there. Looks like we can see more bombers coming in there actually. Yep, we certainly can. Let's move these zeros around. What do we have? We have more Havocs once again. This is going to be very, very nasty indeed. Very, very nasty indeed. We're going to have to bring back these zeros we sent out to scout. We have two groups that are over here, like so. We'll try and give these some attack orders, but they're just not going to get there in time, are they? Move that out. You might be able to get one on this rear plane over here. That is a Havoc. That's another group of Havocs. Bloody hell. How are we doing these B-17s though? Get some shots out. We get one. No, they do have a fair bit of armour. They are heavy bombers, of course. Got some planes over here. They will be dropping by the looks of it. We have downed a Havoc though, luckily with our AA fire there. And that one is dropping on a moving ship over there. So there's not a lot we can do for that. Just get rid of these B-17s because they are going to have some very, very heavy bombs there. Very, very heavy indeed. How is that looking on the Kokuru Maru? It's going for. Did just about miss there, thank God. We need to redivert our planes in from over here. Try and help out with these Havocs, I think. But is that going to be very easy at all? I do not think so. I wouldn't be surprised if they're dropping already, actually. Is there anything else we can do to make our defences a little more efficient there? These ones are just dropping here on, I believe, perhaps this ship or the one in front. There's not a lot we can do there. Turn out, I think, if possible. Like this, and do the same over here. Actually, we'll turn in over here. Not liking that at all. I do not want to take any hits whatsoever because we do need these to come back for reinforcements. Really would love to get these B-17s down though. It's just not happening, is it? Just not happening. Kokuru number 4 has been hit. Where are we? Number 4, that's the rear we've just moved. Not too bad, we will survive that. We want to move on to the flooding though with this, of course, especially since it's on a supply magazine over there. Number 3 has been hit over here, somewhat mildly. Oh no. What's these B-17s doing? Have they dropped? Not just yet. They do have 2 very heavy bombs by the looks of it. Need to start moving out over here, I think. Let's move in like this. Please fire, guys. Please fire. It's too late, though. It does look like they have dropped just before we got them down. Just before we got them down. Are we in range to just pick off these Havocs? Would love to do so. It looks like the B-17s did just miss. They see these splashes at the rear of our ship here. We're going to have to stop there so we don't get any collisions. Oh dear. Let's take a quick report. Heavy to moderate, moderate. That means we can get on top of that. Hopefully this is the majority of planes here that the enemy has. So if we do shoot these down, they shouldn't come back. Not entirely sure which ones we're chasing over here, but we do need to change these up. We are closer to these Havocs over here. Might increase our speed as well to get closer. That'd be a good idea. What's this 0 chasing? Probably not going to get in range of that. Let's turn around over here and do that with the number 15 as well. Let's fire out with this particular 0. Getting some tail gunner fire there. Lucky to have not lost a 0 actually, especially with that large formation of B-17s. Yeah, just thought I'd lost one just then. Thought that was the report there. There we go. If we just pick off this one more here for me, thank you. Good man. And it looks like we need to stop with these ships, I think. Let's slow down with the number 2 to a halt, and the number 4, because that needs to get on top of the internal fires and such. Can we move this anywhere else? No, we can't, because these are now permanently damaged. And there we go, just shooting down 1 or 2 more planes there. We should be in the clear. Hopefully that's it for the retreat now. We did shoot down a lot of planes there. So yeah, we'll just go on the retreat to try and bombard this, because that is nasty, really nasty. And that's the power of having so many level 3 airfields so close together. It's disgusting is what that is. So let's carry on, try and bombard this. Okay, so we have recently been resupplied only a couple hours ago, and of course we have our larger engineering task force just outside of Crede, right in time actually. It's very well timed there, if I may say so myself. So we are of course going to pick up as much engineering and supplies as possible. We're going to prioritise the engineering of course, because supplies aren't necessarily much of a problem at the moment. We are going to pick up some fuel as well. We're going to pick up as much as possible, and I think we're going to try and send these actually to Saipan instead of our more minor resupplies. Actually, and we're going to send the more minor resupplies over to Truck, just so that we have a forward base there, like I say, so we can actually resupply off of there when we need to, because the 16 fuel there is not going to do the job, unfortunately. So that's the plan with that. The question now is, what do we want to do with our command points? Do we want to save up for another carrier, which I believe will be 110 points? Let's double check that, because I think it gets a little bit cheaper with the Hiryu and Soryu. If we go to Crede, New Sea, let's see. If we go CV, thank you. So of course Akiko is 110, Cargo is 110, but Soryu is 100, and so is Hiryu. That's interesting actually. Could go for that. Really would be tempted for that actually. Do you want that, or do you want submarines? Really, that's the question at the moment. Submarines would be cheaper, to be honest. That's what I'm thinking, especially like in the longevity, because they're just cheaper to rearm rather than expending all of the fuel and such for the carrier's planes. Otherwise, we have unfortunately just spotted just here a minor North Carolina task force, so North Carolina, New Orleans, and a Crown Colony, I believe, with a few destroyers just over here. Doesn't look like they're going directly to Formosa, but we're going to try and intercept them with our submarines here. And what's really pushing me for a carrier is to try and get that out now as sort of an emergency to deal with that. Carrier would be nice, and I do want to form the Kido Battalion. It's got to happen at some point. Gonna go for, I think, we really want, let's go for a Hiyo. Let's go for the Hiyo. It's got to be. Oh, the Hiyo, Hiryu, let's see, or the Soryu. Are they any different in their armaments there? No, they're not any difference. They are sister ships, of course, I believe. So, actually, the Hiryu has slightly better armor. Not that we should be putting ourselves into position for that to be useful, you know. But yeah, we'll go for Hiryu for now. We'll do that. Unfortunately, it's going to have to come out unprotected for the minute. But that's just the way things are. We'll send it all the way down. I think for the minute, actually, we'll send it to Formosa, just in case that task force does pop up. But it would be too late, I think, if it does pop up again. But you never know. We are 75 kilometers away or so. Can't bombard that. It needs to be in 30 kilometers range, I think. Yeah, 30 kilometers there. So it's not too far to bombard Davao. You can see we're actually losing supplies more than troops, which is good and bad. At least we're getting the preservation of troops, and supplies are that much easier to bring back, of course. We do have loads on Peleliu there to help out there. So let's carry on, bombard that. Okay, we should now be in range to do that. Should we just test it? Yes, we are. Lovely. So what does that reduce it down to? A 0 port and a 1, or 2 rather, airfield. That's not helped us huge amount there. Do I want to? I think we are going to have to bombard this, unfortunately. I really do want to keep that, but we just have to go again. It's not going to make. It's made the tiniest bit of difference there. We'll see what sort of difference that makes on the next day when it does give us an update. Hopefully that's quite a bit, and that will help our approach with laser attacks as well. We do need to bring that out though, and because we've used most of our HE ammunition there now, we do need to resupply, and that's why we're sending supplies to truck to help out with that as well. So that's be very, very important indeed. So carry on, I think, and hopefully we'll be able to do that fairly peacefully. Well, we've just caught an enemy formation just outside Davao. Looks rather nasty. We've got a New Mexico battleship out here. I haven't seen one of these, I don't think, at all this series. And Atlanta, haven't seen one of these either. And, ooh, the Exeter. So that's interesting, because we did see the Exeter previously. Looks like they've swapped us out to another task force then. We're not entirely sure where this is going exactly, and because we've done that to scout out what's there, we will have lost sight on that for a bit. Let's see if we can see what we can do about that. We'll keep this 0 scouting and shadowing that. It was heading more northern over here, and we'll keep that about like so for now. See where that goes if we can. Might want to bring this a bit further up than we did, of course, last see it, but no, there we go. Okay, so it is going more northern over here. Certainly want to try hitting that. Atlanta's going to be a problem there. What I might want to do then, if the Atlanta's going to be a problem, is level bomb that with some Kates. It's quite a decent tactic. It can certainly get the job done. Going to launch all 16 if possible, and send that out. We'll of course shadow that with our 0 a bit better there. Keep that going up over here. We'll see if we can get that. There it is. There we go. So what do we actually want to hit? I was planning to go for the Atlanta. We do have a hell of a lot of bombs, so it's quite likely we get some sort of hits. You know what? Getting the Atlanta will make sure any further hits on this task force are just that much easier, because of course we all know how famous the Atlanta is for its disgustingly powerful AA suite. We're going to go for extremely high level bomb on that. So we're going to go to 2 kilometers altitude there. Going to try and come from the side with a few of these Kates. We're going to try and come from the side with about 3 groups there. We're going to try and come from the bow with another couple groups if possible. Let's just climb a bit better there. There we go. And we'll come from the bow with these groups as well. That's just to increase the possible chance that we'll hit there, of course. Give it something to think about. We shall see. We'll probably give them individual orders once we get closer. Just to get a little more central over that. But I have been finding, of course, this bombs do tend to drop a little more wide than they do vertical, unfortunately. So coming from the broadside here should help a bit with that. And I think before we overshoot our mark here, we are going to tell our Kates to break an attack here, like so. That will take just a few seconds there. I do apologise, but it's been working. It's been working. Certainly the way to go when possible. And of course the extremely high altitude here does mean that their flak gets that much more inaccurate, which is extremely useful. And we've seen that just throwing torpedoes at the enemy does mean that we lose Kates in droves, unfortunately. Going to let these Kates just get a little more directly over the bow there. Just change our angle a tad. I'm sure that will start manoeuvring once we start dropping. So we're just going to go now, I think, with these Kates here. Start going like so. And that will be very, very nice indeed. I don't really like moving the box there, that's unfortunate. I like everything to be in formation there. There we go, all nice and tidy, excellent stuff. Just make sure this is attacking as well. That's very, very nice indeed. Oh, gotta love a good level bombing tactic, and you've got to love how the bombs aren't necessarily clipped to your planes properly there. That's not looking so bad. Did I just hear we did lose a Kates? This is why we've got to get rid of the Atlantic, because just look at all of these dual purpose guns here. It's a disgusting amount of guns. Absolutely disgusting. Oh, first group's completely, look at that, it's 2 groups missed there. Not liking that. They manoeuvred just at the last second there. This is the problem with altitude bombings, although at least you're going to get some probably guaranteed hits with torpedo runs. It's not so safe for your planes, but with bombing runs it's the complete opposite. Much safer for your planes, but you're not at all guaranteed the hits. Where's our extra groups? They must have dropped by now. They have indeed. So that looks like all of our bombs were misses. This is why I did toy with it. Probably should have gone for the New Mexico here. It is just that much of a beefier target there. We have only lost 2 Kates so far. Probably going to lose a couple more on the retreat here. Just speed that up. There's not much else we can do there. That's unlucky. So we'll probably go for the New Mexico next. And let's keep going. What have we got over here? We've got some Havocs. Bloody hell. Can't take those on. We're just going to have to retreat, I think. That is rather unlucky indeed, but we have some warning about the Havocs. Going to recall these scouting zeros then. If we return to base over here. So that we have something to defend our Akagi with in just a second. Well, quite luckily that group of Havocs didn't decide to go for our Akagi, and we have unfortunately lost sight of this group that we spotted down here, but that means that they're not interested in taking a fight to our Akagi or our invasion support group over here, which is very, very lucky indeed. But over the course of the next day we have managed to get some supply reinforcements over to Davao over here. You can see it's largely supplies. We have some troops, 880 is the only amount of troops we're bringing. The rest of our Kokuru and Maros are empty, and that's because we would have completely stripped bare Peleliu at that point, and I don't want to actually lose Peleliu. There we do need troops on there to keep our control of it. there. So we're going to unload all of our cargo here. And that's helped us fairly well. They're still slightly undersupplied there, unfortunately, but it is going to definitely help there a lot. And we can see that we are taking Davao there very nicely indeed. So let's come out of here, retreat. Not entirely sure where to send these now. We're going to have to go back to Kure, aren't we, with all of these? That's the thing. We've got the big burst now of reinforcements, but we've stripped Peleliu bare. We'll keep these invasion supplies coming in here, and we'll cycle back to Kure with this group here, and they can pick up some troops and supplies when we get resupplied. That would take 116 hours, but we have time to wait. No more sightings of enemy ships over here, so I'm actually going to send the Hiryu down to come down, take it wide, because we're going to be wary of enemy planes and of course certain task force in the Philippine Sea there. Bring it wide and probably join it up to Akagi over here. I think they would be working in tandem there together would be very beneficial indeed. So, I think really the goal for this episode was just to take Davao, so it maybe a somewhat short one today, at least compared to the previous episodes. But I do like to get that rolling. We'll see if there's anything else we can do though. You never know what's going to pop up, do you? You never know. Let's carry on. Okay, so we have found some supply ships just south of Peleliu. No doubt coming to resupply some Philippine islands over there, so we need to get rid of these. It's extra important. It's just really stuttering there, I do apologise. Extra important now that we're actively trying to invade the Philippines, that they do not get any of their beloved supplies. Cannot be allowed, really cannot be allowed, ladies and gentlemen. So it would be a massive hindrance for us. Just trying to slow down here, I think, and get slightly more perpendicular with this particular ship. I will leave that as a Vic or box formation that we have at the moment, and we will attack from here. This particular ship is actually rather short, it's not quite as long, so we're going to do a manual drop over here if possible. We're going to have to slow down, of course, and get a line ahead on that, just to help make sure that all of our torpedoes do hit, if we do of course line this up properly. Have managed to get in and drop all of our torpedoes off on, I believe, an Arcturus or a C2 there, from a quick glimpse at it. Do look fairly similar to me, and I think we'll be okay here. That's one hit, and we will drop here with these. That's 3 hits on there, so that should be going down. We will of course now pull up with this. I might have got just a slightly bad lead there, shouldn't have led too much there. It's 2 hits though, so that's not so bad, but I'm not entirely sure that one will go down. So probably shouldn't have been quite so hasty with that one. This one over here should be going down. It's critical to critical and critical to heavy on the Netherlands ship over there, so that might well go down. The number 1's going down, that's the one with the flak on it, so our planes are at least safe there, and it will mean if this one doesn't come down or sink, that we'll come in for a much safer second attack there, and it will save our supplies and such on Peleliu. We're going to take one group over here just to shadow that and keep sight on there. Keep some wide side, doesn't matter, it only has small arms there. We can see the bow really, because it did take all of the torpedoes there. I'm hoping that will go straight down as it did with a King George previously, where the bow just slowly started sinking, submerging there. So let's wait around and fingers crossed for this one, but not too big of a worry if it doesn't go down. Well, I'm sorry to say, guys, that is unfortunately all I have time for today. Been recording for quite some ruddy bloody time, and would you believe it or not, I may have mentioned before, 30 minutes is sort of roughly where I'd like to keep my episodes. Not that we've had a 30-minute video for quite some time. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video today. Got a fair bit done, and the invasion on Davao is actually going very, very well indeed. Thank you very much. So we'll be continuing that in the future. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the future. I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.